Welcome to this week's book club. I'm just being silly. I found this in a charity shop many years ago and it lives in my drawer, and yeah, there you go. So welcome to this week's book club, and let's just get sort of straight into it, and let's see if we can actually do a shorter video for once. So this week we looked at two extraordinarily powerful writers, and we started with the poet first, which it's just nice to kind of switch things round, and maybe in a few weeks' time we'll have an all poetry session again. But this poem is Sky by Wislawa Szymborska, and I'll just read it to you now. The sky is where we should have started. A window without a windowsill, without a frame, without a pane. An opening wide open with nothing beyond it. I don't have to wait for a starry night, nor crane my neck to look at the sky. I have the sky behind me, and close at hand, and on my eyelids. It's the sky that wraps me tight and raises me from underneath. The highest mountains are no closer than the deepest valleys to the sky. No place has any more of it than any other place. A cloud is as thoroughly crushed by the sky as a grave. A mole is as high, sky high, as an owl beating its wings. Whoever falls into an abyss falls from sky to sky. Friable, fluid, rocky, flammable. Volatile stretches of sky, crumbs of sky, gusts of sky, heaps of sky. Sky is omnipresent, even in darkness under the skin. I eat the sky, I excrete the sky. I'm a trap in a trap, an inhabited inhabitant, an embrace embraced, a question that answers a question. Dividing earth and sky is not the right way to think about this wholeness. It only allows one to live at a more precise address. Were I to be searched for, I'd be found much faster. My distinguishing marks are rapture and despair. So Szymborska is an incredible poet. Strangely, I believe she was kind of quite a strong atheist, and yet there's such a kind of religious or spiritual feel to kind of much of her work, and this kind of wonderful sort of meditation on the nature of sky and how that it fills everything, even beyond the planet kind of thing, and into space and in the holes on the ground. Everything that we make, any space that we make, is filled by sky. And it's from this book, Miracle Fair, which is her selected poems, and I highly recommend this. This is a really beautiful book. She was born in Poland, and she won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1996. And she was a friend of Czesław Miłosz, who you'll have heard me speak of before. And it's interesting that from this period you have Miłosz, Szymborska, and there's another poet, Anna Sfeer. And I think if you like one, you'll like the other two as well. So take a look at that. And then for our story, we went to Nabokov, Vladimir Nabokov, and this is an incredible story called Symbols and Signs. I think it may have been his, maybe one of his last stories. It was originally published in the New Yorker in the late 50s, perhaps 1958. And actually, if you go online and search in the New Yorker podcasts, Mary Gateskill reads this story in total, and there's a discussion with Deborah Treisman, who is the fiction editor at the New Yorker, or she was at the time. I don't know if she is now. I don't kind of keep up with things in the same way anymore. And Symbols and Signs tells the story of a couple who had a child late, after sort of 20 years of marriage, and the child turns out, or the young man turns out to have terrible sort of mental health problems. He's in a sanitarium, and it's his birthday, so they go to visit him, and they're so worried about him, and he's in this kind of terrible place. Sanitariums in those days were these vast spaces where people were just kind of shambling about a lot of the time, and they just really don't know what to do for him for the best, and they're trapped in this kind of caring mode, and yet utter boredom, having to kind of make their way through subway trains and difficult traffic and buses to get to the sanitarium, where, you know, almost kind of nothing happens very much, but they're constantly under threat because he may take his life at any moment. He keeps trying to kill himself, and it kind of goes on from there. But Nabokov's language is unbelievably accurate, unbelievably beautiful, and the fact that he kind of, you know, he was born in Russia, moved to Britain in the 1920s, I think, and was educated at Cambridge, and then went on to America and wrote his first number of books in Russian, and then switches to English, and yet his facility in English is just remarkable. You know, obviously he's the writer of Lolita, which we're not going to talk about here, but even, you know, if you've read Lolita, that opening passage of Lolita, and the kind of the beauty of the language, and his ability to be so accurate through the use of poetry almost within the language, just the absolute specific image that says, that kind of unlocks the so much more of the story. Let me read you this. This is Nabokov's description of the young man's mental illness, but rather than doing it from the outside, this is actually the young man's experience. The system of his delusions had been the subject of an elaborate paper in a scientific monthly, which the doctor at the sanitarium had given them to read. But long before that, she and her husband had puzzled it out for themselves. Referential mania, the article had called it. In these very rare cases, the patient imagines that everything happening around him is a veiled reference to his personality and existence. He excludes real people from the conspiracy because he considers himself to be so much more intelligent than other men. Phenomenal nature shadows him wherever he goes. Clouds in the staring sky transmit to each other, by means of slow signs, incredibly detailed information regarding him. His inmost thoughts are discussed at nightfall in manual alphabet by darkly gesticulating trees. Pebbles, or stains, or sunflecks form patterns representing in some awful way messages that he must intercept. Everything is a cipher, and of everything he is the theme. All around him there are spies. Some of them are detached observers, like glass surfaces and still pools. Others, such as coats in store windows, are prejudiced witnesses, lynchers at heart. Others, again, running water, storms, are hysterical to the point of insanity, have a distorted opinion of him, and grotesquely misinterpret his actions. He must always be on his guard and devote every minute and module of life to the decoding and undulation of things. I mean, that's just absolutely incredible. And Nabokov's structuring, his punctuation, his word choices, everything is used. You know, there's not anything that's not used, and the structure of the writing, the way it's laid out on the page, everything is part of what's going on. And the group absolutely adored this, that it was such a rich story, and that there was so much depth to it. We could have just talked about this for hours, and kind of you know, still kind of found more things there. And it's ultimately a very simple tale, but Nabokov's absolute precision, but that precision being a precision that includes heart, that is not interested in cruelty, that that kind of wants to show us what's really going on. That is just, you know, one of the reasons why we should pick up this incredible writer and have a look at him. So let me wish you a really good day. Let me know in the comments down below how you got on with these pieces. Please subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And we'll see you not next week because it's World Book Day and I have to be somewhere else. But so there's another break next week, and then we're back for a 3 or 4 week run before Easter. So you take care and lots of love to you. Bye bye.